Hi, and welcome back to this Over the Hump Day broadcast. Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Those of you that listen to this program for a while know that I'm a big-time, hardcore San Francisco Giants fan. I have been since I was 13 years old. I have never wavered. I have never flagged in my loyalty and my enthusiasm and my support for my San Francisco Giants. Now, they were mathematically eliminated from the pennant race just last week. This was after winning the World Series just a year ago. And one of the problems, frankly, that baseball teams have that make it to the playoffs, especially the two teams that go to the World Series, one of the reasons you don't see more repeat winners is the toll that the extra month of pitching takes on the arms of their pitching staff. A lot of people don't take that into consideration. That's extra innings. That's a lot of wear and tear on the arms of your starters and your relievers. A lot of times the weather is a little bit colder. That can take a toll. And so read an article by the pitching coach just last night from the Giants, and he was saying, look, that was one of the problems that we ran into. We just had tired arms this year. When these guys got to crucial pitches where they needed the big out, they just did not have that extra gas in the tank. Now, we have to wear these little badges to get in as a part of the security system. They have little embedded chips in them that gets us in and out of our buildings. They're not embedded in our hands or in our foreheads, by the way. Just want to be clear on that. So it's a little tag that we wear around our necks, a little identification badge, and we just kind of flash it across a little thingy at the door, and it opens up the door. And so you got to have a lanyard to sort of carry that badge is attached to. And I've been wearing a Giants lanyard all season long. Now, I got a friend in the news department, Chad Groening. He's a big-time St. Louis Cardinals fan. He has been on my case. He's just nursed a grudge against me since last year because we got down 3-1 to the Cardinals. Maybe it was 3-0, and we came back and knocked them out of the World Series. So Chad has never gotten over that, never forgiven me. And so I've been wearing this Giants lanyard around my neck all season long, and he's been hassling me about that. He's been having a gay old time, using the word gay in the sense of fun at my expense over the course of this year. And I told him, Chad, I'm a loyal Giants fan. I'm going to wear this thing till they are mathematically eliminated from contention. Well, that happened last week, so now I'm wearing my 49er lanyard just in time for them to get their clocks cleaned by the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday night. Now, I've also got a Stanford University lanyard. They're off to a good start, 2-0, ranked 5th in the country. So I'm going to cycle that in and out of the rotation. Anyway, Giants gave the Dodgers some fits last weekend, their last weekend series against the L.A. Dodgers, their primary rivals. And just kind of a swan song. This is my gift to you as a Giants fan. I think the baseball announcer, the radio announcer, Mel Kiper for the Giants, I think he's got the best home run call in the majors. Hasn't had a lot of occasion to use it this year, but last weekend against the Dodgers, he got to ring the changes 4 times. Let's listen.
High drive, center field. It is out of here. And that's a grand slam for Hunter Pence. High drive, left center field. On the move is Hairston. It is out of here.
Okay.
Pence. High drive. Left field. Out of here. He's done it again. And this game is tied. Hill. Down the left field line. Towards the corner. It is out of here. And the Giants take the lead. It's 4-3.
So it was kind of a fun weekend to be a Giants fan. I think they swept the Dodgers. Hunter Pence, who hit that grand slam, first home run call was Hunter Pence. If he didn't get hurt over the last few games of the season, I think in the last week now, he may be the first Giant since the franchise moved to San Francisco to start all 162 games for the San Francisco Giants. I got a text from my wife. Are you doing a sports show now? Question mark. So I guess apparently that's my signal. I need to move on. But this is kind of interesting to me. And then I will move on. We had the crew from our video department, our film department, come in. They're doing something for the Values Voter Summit and for our thing at the Cove coming up at the Billy Graham Training Center in early October. So they're doing a little video piece about AFA. So they wanted to get some video footage of Tim Wildman, our president, on the set, some video footage of me on the set, and some video footage of Tim and I talking together. But they made it clear that they didn't need audio. This was just going to be what's called in the business B-roll, something that runs in the background while people are talking. So they were going to shoot some B-roll for us. And so it didn't matter what Tim and I were talking about, but we were supposed to kind of look animated and kind of look into it and look energized. And I'm trying to forget what what we were talking about. I cannot remember what we were talking about. It had to do with a football game that weekend. But anyway, Tim and I are talking animatedly about this. I think it was a college football game. And we are going back and forth, and we're waving our arms, and we're making exclamation points, and we are obviously energized and into this conversation. And then they took some video footage of me, again, doing B-roll, and they wanted me to look right in the camera like I'm looking at you right now. And so, again, I did the same thing. I waxed eloquent about this college football game. And, again, I was waving my arms. You would have thought I was talking about Obamacare. So nobody will know when that actually airs that what we were talking about had nothing to do with Christianity, had nothing to do with public policy, had nothing to do with politics. It was about football. And I told the crew when we were done taping that little vignette, hey, I want you to wrap that up, cut it up, send it to ESPN as an audition tape. So anyway, enough of all of that. Now I want to get back to a couple of other items on the religious liberty front, which is obviously a key issue for us here. And again, I just want to tack down the fact that this is a Christian nation by its founding. Our history, our values, our tradition, distinctively Christian. We are a Christian nation. You can expand that to say we are a Judeo-Christian nation because we were founded on the principles of the Judeo-Christian tradition. And that's very obvious as we find that the founding fathers quoted the Bible 34% of the time. They're going to quote some kind of outside source. The Bible is the authoritative source. They quoted 34% of the time. We are a Christian nation, a Judeo-Christian nation by heritage, by tradition, and by values. Now, in 1802, now realize this is back close to the founding, Daniel Webster, one of the great senators, great statesman in American history, 1802, while the ink is still fresh on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, he said this, speaking, looking ahead to generations to come, the history of the world is before us. Ambitious men must be restrained by the public morality. That is, there must be a public sense of right and wrong to which we all agree, to which we all adhere, and to which we hold our public leaders accountable. Ambitious men must be restrained by the public morality. When they rise up to do evil, they must find themselves standing alone. Morality rests on religion. If you destroy the foundation, the superstructure must fall. The civil, the social, the Christian virtues are requisite to render us worthy the continuation of that government which is the freest on earth. So again, another statesman echoing the words of George Washington, Daniel Webster saying, look, you must have public morality. You must have a standard of right and wrong. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got it in the Ten Commandments. You don't need anything else other than that. That is our public standard of morality. You think of the evil that men do, and somehow one way or another they have transgressed one of the Ten Commandments. You have all corruption. You have bribery in public officials. What's that? Thou shalt not steal. That's a public morality. That's a standard we all agree on. Stealing is wrong. You have politicians get in trouble for sexual escapades. Thou shalt not commit adultery. There's a sexual standard that's part of the public morality because we as a people agree that these are the standards to which we all must live. I mean, this isn't just for people in authority. It's incumbent upon all of us to build our lives around these standards and to seek to obey them. None of us are going to do it perfectly. That's why we need a Savior. But once we are saved and redeemed, then this becomes the standard to which we are now to depend upon God through his Holy Spirit to help us achieve. You have problems in homes. It has to do a lot of times with adultery that precipitates divorce. Honor your father and mother. You've got discord in the home. Again, there's a standard that's violated. And so what Daniel Webster's saying, look, we need a standard of public morality. And when men rise up to do evil, when men in authority, when men in power in any realm of life, when they rise up to do evil, they must find themselves standing alone, because the public has this standard of morality to which we all agree. It's a transcendent code. And I want to suggest to you, if there's any one thing that unites the American people, it is Christ and the Ten Commandments. Well, it was two things, actually, but they're obviously related. The things that bind us together as one people, what make us indivisible as a people, is we have one God and we have one standard of morality. And when that begins to fray, when that begins to erode, when you start pushing into this multiculturalism, I got a story in the stack here. Maybe I'll get to it. You might have seen this, where some students at a high school in Tennessee, this is part of the Bible Belt, they went on a field trip. This is an honors class. They went to a field trip to a mosque. In fact, it's one of the most radical mosques in America. It's in Tennessee. They went on a field trip to the mosque. While they were there, they were given copies of the Quran. So you got the Gideons over here, and they are told by the ACLU, no, you cannot give Bibles to students. We don't care if they want them. We don't care if you do it on public property. We're going to stop you from giving the Bible to students, even though it was the most often cited source by the Founding Fathers. But hey, if it's a Quran, that's a different deal. Stick as many Qurans in their backpacks as you want. But here's my point is, and this is what Daniel Webster said, look, morality rests on religion, and by that he meant Christianity, because that was it. There wasn't any other religious tradition or system in America at the time. You had about 0.2% of the population were Jews, but that's consistent with the Judeo-Christian tradition. The other 99.8% of us were Christians. So when he talks about religion, he's talking about Christianity. He says morality, the public morality that we must have as a people, it rests on Christianity. And if you destroy that foundation, the superstructure of public morality that restrains the evil that men do, that also must fall. We are, by history, tradition, and value, a Christian nation. Back in 2.